All right, everyone, welcome. This is Filmic Gaming. We had a great week last week. I think a lot of people enjoyed our take on what we thought about Last of Us and just the general opinion about it. Just shed some light on some other details. But every week there's a new topic. That's what I love about being my boy Show and Brendan here. We always get together with whatever topic we have on hand, and we just we have fun with it.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you guys are excited for this one. So this week, we're doing Star Wars. We gotta talk about the future of Star Wars in the gaming industry as a whole, because it's not just one project, right? They have
Absolutely.
many projects. How do we feel about Star Wars' position right now in the gaming world? Like, do we feel okay with where it's at?
I think it's heading in the right direction, but I think they still have a lot to prove to make up for I think the whole fiasco with the loot boxes and Battlefront 2 was a whole final nail in the coffin of the whole, especially EA with Star Wars. I think that's the thing. EA and Star
They've
Wars
been hit or miss.
Yeah,
That's one thing I do have to stand by them on their other projects, but for some reason Battlefront was just in that category in their portfolio that was all right, this is our cash grab game,
Yeah, but they've had some. They've been. I think over time. I never really played Battlefront 2 myself, the remake anyway. The original one I did play, but the newer one I never played. But I have heard that it's gotten much better over time with updates.
Yes.
And also obviously with Jedi Fallen Order being so good and so well received, I think they're heading in the right direction. And with some of the stuff they've announced, that's exciting. I think it's good. It's got potential. So but I'm definitely skeptical still. You know what I mean? They haven't totally.
No, that's
earned,
understood. I
my
mean,
trust.
at the end of the day, it's not about that. Yeah, it's gotten better over time, but this is one of those games that over time it kind of just dies out. You know what I mean? So for them to say, all right, yeah, it's been fixed, and the game is good. I actually played it when I had my PS4. I actually had it for one of the free weekends, and I just played it for a weekend. You still feel like the game is a robbery. It's still not good in that sense because they're never able to really completely remove that. It was a core part of the game, the microtransactions and the way things were unlocked and things like that. So I feel like if they would have just tried the right way and maybe given Battlefront the treatment that they gave, Fallen Order when Jedi Fallen Order came out, they gave Respawn the freedom to do what they wanted.
I was gonna say the key difference was Respawn taking the helm on Fallen Order. That was the key the key difference there, I would say.
But I feel like it's just the way also you also have to understand EA is at the top of every decision. They're the ones that are saying we want microtransactions. They're the ones that are saying we want loot boxes. So I just feel like they could have done the same thing with Fallen Order, but because it was a single player game, which they have come out against time and time again, they were saying it before, single player games are not the future. We don't really think that single player games are where the money is. Okay, yes, that's true. But now that you're going down the road of just microtransactions and trying to grab our money, now you're losing everyone at the same time because we all don't like it. We all hate it. Every gamer hates microtransactions.
And it was such a shame because DICE was the developer on those Battlefront games, and the Frostbite engine is beautiful and it's so good, and I was so excited to see Star Wars Battlefront on the Frostbite engine. I remember when it was announced, it had such potential, and it just everything is just
I just remember
shot
those
the bed,
visuals were insane, man.
Yeah.
You look at it, anybody could have a normal screen and the graphics would still pop off of the screen. Now imagine someone with an OLED or something like that, someone who had just a beautiful setup. You see footage on a crazy PC, it's beautiful. And you just think of what they did with Battlefront 2, where they tried the campaign, right? But it flopped on its head heavily because of poor writing. It's just you just wish that maybe Respawn was the one that did a Battlefront or they did a story within Battlefront, right? That's not the case. It played out how it played out. Respawn got the Fallen Order project, which is probably what they wanted. They wanted to move from multiplayer more to a single player at the time, and it worked beautifully. I mean, the things that they did with Fallen Order still have a lot of people playing it to this day. Combining the Dark Souls kind of element with the checkpoints and then still having, the difficulty also of a Dark Souls type game. with the timings and everything.
Yeah,
It was a
definitely
joy to
that
play.
exactly. I think that it was they really just perfect. They did the perfect like combination of like little pieces of different games that came before, and
Mhm.
just like pieced it all together in a really good way that fit together with the Star Wars canon, and like they also just had a good story to tell in
Yeah,
general too.
you could
Right.
tell they
You
had a
know,
team that had a vision from top to bottom.
yeah, exactly, and
They
like
wanna
just
make this game a certain way.
that added difficulty. I think just some people say maybe it was too much or something, or in general people are like anti difficulty increasing nowadays in games, but like it was a really nice. I feel like it was like a breath of fresh air almost. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
mean, we
It's like
hadn't
the
gotten like that
style.
at
Yeah,
all in the Star Wars universe. If you go back 5 years ago, and if you said, "What if a Star Wars single player campaign came out, revolved around a young emerging Jedi,
yeah,
and it's gonna have Dark Souls elements to it?" This is 5
yeah.
years ago, so
After
Dark
Order
Souls, you say, was in
66.
its peak at the time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
With
Dark
Dark Souls
Souls
3
3. Yeah,
coming out
not
around
not
that
too
time.
long before it. Yeah, 2 years
So
before it came.
I know for a fact anyone who's a Star Wars fan in general would jump at that idea. They would be like, "Hell yeah, give me that now."
Hmm.
That's what they gave us. But it was freedom at the end of the day. So, but you also look at some other projects, Squadrons, that has come out as well. You see the tide turning in terms of
That's
Star Wars
right.
IPs in general and their status amongst the fans. They're becoming more stable in terms of their releases.
Yeah,
So you take what you get from Squadrons, you take what you get from Jedi Fallen Order, and then you go to the next game to come out is Jedi Survivor. You're talking about the new technology because it's only going to be exclusively on the PS5, Series X, and PC, right? So you're talking about fully taking advantage of, is it Unreal Engine?
yeah. I believe.
I
I
believe it's
believe
Unreal Engine 5.
so.
I
Yeah,
believe so. Um,
yeah. It's Unreal Engine 5. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of the games that's being flaunted as really showing what the nanite technology in Unreal Engine 5, the lighting, all the objects you can have on screen, and the flashes and sparks is really going to test that engine, right? So that's already got it going for it. The teaser trailer,
Looks fantastic.
yeah, you could tell it's a little bit more CGI than probably what the game would look like, but I don't think
Yeah,
the
well,
game
yeah,
is going to be that far off.
It's a cinematic trailer
Yeah,
for sure.
I still don't think the game will
But
be that far off with what we
yeah,
have today.
I'm just
So
they're being so tight-lipped with like they haven't released any real plot details. All we know is that it takes place 5 years after the events of Fallen Order. They show that guy in the test tube that Cal is looking
mhm.
at, and you don't know who it is, but I assume we're gonna find out. So
Yeah,
a lot of
man.
Right.
mysteries, but it looks good.
Looks very good. And I have to say, I mean, I think Cal has become one of the more loved protagonists in gaming right now. His character was very well written, it was very well thought of. And he fits, as you said, with the way that they altered the story for them to fit within some type of canon for Star Wars lore. They did really well by creating a character that's lovable, and you relate to him and you want to root for him, right? So they did everything right. They took the safe route with this game. If you look at the skill tree and the abilities you get, they really just felt like they were dipping their toes in the water when it came to the first game, right? um there seemed like there was so much more potential there for so many other things to be added, such as different types of force techniques, maybe a chain force technique. So there's a lot they could add because this is the future right now. This is when this game comes out, hopefully a lot of games follow in its footsteps and they go exclusively to the new consoles. So that's when we could really get to see what we're dealing with, you know? Not
Yeah.
held back by the PS4 and Xbox One. So show, is there anything you're excited for in the Star Wars like world for
Well,
gaming?
first off, I love anything Star Wars,
Hey.
but obviously there's like a bunch of flops.
Yeah,
Sadly, you know.
it still doesn't change your intrigue, right? Like when the Star Wars games come out,
Yeah,
it's
no.
awesome.
I just love the universe. You
Yeah,
love the
I
world
still,
already.
yeah, I still would get it. When you grow up with it, it's already like, oh, this is like my childhood. Even if it's whack, I'm gonna give it a try. Like, and they have some gems. They definitely had some gems along the years. They had Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. That's a gem. I always say Republic Commando's a gem also,
Mhm.
and this one definitely is a classic.
Force
And
Unleashed on the
oh yeah, Force
360,
Unleashed. Oh yeah, of course,
those
another
games are
gem.
awesome, man.
Yep.
Awesome. They just
Um,
released that on the Switch too.
As far as like the Fallen Order though, like I want to go back to what you guys said with the difficulty. I felt like it was perfectly paced. I don't
Mhm.
think it was as bad at all.
Yeah.
Because once you like get to a certain threshold, when you upgrade your armor and stuff, and when you get
Mhm.
certain areas through the game, like obviously it gets easier. Because you're
Yeah.
progressing. But as far as like new games that are coming out, Survivor looks really good.
Mhm.
I'm excited to see what they're gonna do because that the new Sif looks completely different. You see that dude with the sharp teeth? He looks like
Yeah, the
pale.
long nails and everything.
Yeah, I want to know who that is because for
Yeah.
some odd reason I feel like it's gonna tie to like the canon some way
It just
somehow.
oozes. It just oozes that
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars feel that people loved, from the older movies and some of their best Star Wars moments where the whoever's playing that character on the screen is just killing it. It
Right.
oozes that in this game, especially in that teaser trailer. It just like you just knew that this was gonna be an intense, dark Star Wars story, and I'm here
Yeah.
for it. I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for it.
And the new game though that's coming out, another one is Star Wars Eclipse.
Yep.
Hmm.
That one's kind of been under
That's
the
one of the
radar too.
more surprising ones on a lot of people's lists too when it comes to games that are coming out for Star Wars.
And that their trailer didn't show much either. So that's what I like about both trailers for Survivor and Eclipse. It
Very cryptic.
was
Mhm.
yeah, it leaves you thinking. So they're not giving you anything to run away with
You
and
know what?
have like any idea.
The trailer they showed for Eclipse kind of gave me similar vibes to almost like Hellblade, like
Mhm.
Senua's like sacrifice a little bit, almost like
Yeah.
the trailer from the trailer. You know what I mean?
It's just, I mean, you just look
Yep.
at it and you're like, okay, wow, I'm very intrigued. So I just wanted to read something here from the Eclipse website. This is one of the blurbs that they have, just giving you a brief idea of who's making it and what the game is going to be based around. So it's set during the High Republic era. Star Wars Eclipse is an intricately branching action adventure game that can be experienced in many ways and puts the destinies of multiple playable characters in your hands, created in collaboration with Quantic Dream and Lucasfilm Games. So, there's a lot obviously to dissect there. There's, even though it looks like it's just a three-line statement, they said a lot. One of the things they said, Quantic Dream, and if you guys don't
hmm
know what Quantic Dream is,
Like Detroit Become Human, Heavy
mhm,
Rain, and what was the other one?
Beyond
Between
Two
Two
Souls,
Souls.
no,
That's what it was.
Beyond Two
Yeah,
Souls,
Beyond Two
definitely.
Souls. That's what it was. Yeah.
Beyond Two Souls. Yep. And
hmm
each of those titles, I'm sure if there's anyone who's, been a fan of narrative games at any point in their life, they've played all of those.
Yeah.
Starting with Heavy Rain, for me, I just want to put that at the top there. That's probably one of the most intense experiences I've ever been put through. I think if I can get the year of when Heavy Rain came out,
I think it was
I
like
was
2009 or
definitely
something.
I was definitely in my teens. So it's a 2010 video game. So I was 15 years old
Okay,
when I first
2010. I
got
was a
this.
year off. I was close.
So, when you're 15, 14, 16, you're at that age where you're really, you're starting to get a little, smarter. You're learning a lot more. You're reading a lot more, maybe whatever it is. And if you're into narrative games, even as a kid, when you get to that age, you really start looking for the deep stories. You know what I mean? Last of Us did that for me when it came out in 2013. And this game, when I played it, it was one of the first games to do that for me. Heavy Rain, if you haven't played it, it's one of the best, I guess, engrossing experiences is what I could say, because you just get enveloped in the story, man. Quantic Dream has evolved over the years, culminating with Detroit Become Human. It, I really enjoyed the graphics of the game and the story in certain points, but it definitely
Yeah.
wasn't their strongest title.
Yeah, it was really slow in bits. It was like
Mhm.
almost like too slow in bits, but
Yeah,
it was overall enjoyable.
yeah, there were many situations that they put you in where you got to make decisions, and those points in the game, which are they're not few and far between. There's enough of them in there, but there are very slow points, like Brennan said. But it's one of those games where you make the decisions, you feel like you're making them in real time. You feel like the timing that they give you matters, so it rushes you. So it was very good in terms of the mechanics of the game. You
hmm
just needed them to refine their storytelling a little better when it came to Become Human, but the overall narrative was a good idea. It's about droids and kind of got to has a what's that movie iRobot from Will
Oh
Smith way
yeah,
back in the
yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
robot.
It's
Yeah.
really got those vibes in it, right? So you took that experience for what it was, and you really enjoyed it. So it's a matter of them really just knowing what to do going forward, and I think there's a lot of experience there. So when you take on a property like Star Wars, and you already have that deep lore to pull from, and it really just takes a lot of the legwork out of their storytelling, and it gives them the freedom to just be creative and create their own story and just tie it in, to whatever the current lore that they're doing. Do you know if it's going to be canon in any way? It says
Well,
it's an
when
original Star Wars story
yeah,
with
but
I
when
would
you
all new
imagine
mention
I
characters.
think they're only doing stuff that's going to fit into the canon now. They're not
Okay,
doing anything like that's not going to.
okay.
yeah, when you
So that I mean
mention
that's just
Lucasfilm, you figure, you know.
yeah, that in and of itself is that's gonna be awesome. And you know they're capable of amazing graphics.
Yeah,
Detroit
easily.
Become Human is one of the most realistic games I've ever
Yeah, the
seen. And that was
cinematic alone looks crazy.
wasn't that like mid life cycle for the PS4 when that came out too?
I believe
Yeah,
so,
I think
yeah.
so.
It came
Yeah,
out a
Mm-hmm.
few years ago.
it was like mid to late life cycle.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was definitely I guess on the second half of
Yeah,
the
the
life
back half.
cycle.
The
But
back half. Yeah,
it was definitely ahead of its time in terms of the graphics they were showing. That
yeah,
was when
easily.
Sony was flexing their muscle when they showed that game. Obviously, you
Mhm.
know, the reviews are kind of split. A lot of people really enjoyed it, but there are good amount of people who, you know, didn't really think it was their best title, which I can agree. I think Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain in and of themselves are better than um than Detroit Become Human. It kind of had like those same vibes.
Yeah,
So super excited for Eclipse. I think there's a lot there for Quantic Dream to try to achieve and just bring forward and just really switch up their style and get creative. You just wish them all the best, and we'll see that game when it comes out. But that is not the only title out there. There's another title that has been, you know, at the forefront of a lot of people's lists when it comes to Star Wars, and that's Knights of the Old Republic.
yes,
Yeah.
Recently
yes.
delayed,
Classic.
unfortunately.
Yeah, but have you heard it's delayed? Yes, but it's delayed indefinitely.
Yeah,
Amid
yeah.
like big
I
shakeups at the
wanted you to
studio.
deliver that bad
Apparently.
news.
Yeah, I was gonna say like yeah, it's delayed indefinitely, which means like no set plans to revamp it. I mean, I think eventually it will see the light of day because the fans have been wanting this for so long. But you know, still, it's definitely
It's a beloved IP.
oh yeah, beloved,
I mean,
beloved.
it's one of the games that people have been wanting a remake for it for the
Yeah,
longest. Now,
it came out in 2003 originally.
yeah, you're talking
So
Blue Point level
yeah,
detail remake that they were supposed to be pulling off with the Knights of the Old Republic. When they showed that teaser trailer, even though it was a CGI cinematic,
yeah,
my God, when that red lightsaber lit up and just showed the face of who was holding the lightsaber, and you just knew, all right,
yeah. It was
okay,
Revan,
this
Darth
is
Revan.
Mhm.
that was like, okay, I'm down with what's going on with Dead Space. I mean, you can see these remakes, they're really putting a lot of polish into it. We don't know much about what the new remake is gonna have in terms of gameplay mechanics, anything, any type of story alterations. We don't know a thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did they give a statement as to why it's delayed indefinitely?
I just heard it's like from like just shakeups at the studio apparently.
Oh, I see. It says the pause comes after the publisher fired both its art director and design director.
Wow. Look at that. Drama in the gaming industry, fellas. That's drama
Yep.
for you. I think there's a lot riding on this project. I don't think they would cancel it. I think this is one of their, like I say, trump card games. This is the one that they have in their back pocket that when it releases, they want it to do well. So we'll hold our hands out for that one. We think that one's still gonna happen. Just sad news that it got delayed like that. You know, we always hate delays. We get so many of them nowadays.
Yeah, it's such common. It's such common a common thing nowadays, though. You know, I mean, what can we? We should have known better.
Exactly. So I mean, you look at what's happened with Star Wars in the past. You look at it a few years ago when they really started, you know, turning things around and actually trying for
Yeah.
once. And
Well, who would you guys like to? What company would you guys like to see take over Star Wars IP if it ain't EA?
oh man,
I don't know.
at Santa Monica Studios, Cory Barlog, or he's been talking about doing a sci-fi,
That'd be wild,
futuristic
actually.
sci-fi game for the longest. And I've been telling a lot of people that if he was to get his hands, I need to know how much of a Star Wars fan he is.
Oh yeah.
But I would, if he was a great Star Wars fan and he wanted to get his hands on a Star Wars game,
No man, that would
I
be
agree with
insane.
Santa
yeah.
Monica for me. At some point.
I agree with that. I would like that.
Yeah, that narrative would be insane.
We hope that, you know, this shift to these, you know, not just single player experiences, but also, you know, just better experiences overall helps it out and keeps it moving forward, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, me too. I think they have a bright future, a lot of potential. I would say.
All right, well, that was a quick episode, y'all. You just wanted to touch base on where the Star Wars IPs of the gaming world are at the moment, and for games going out in 2023, I think coming out in 2024. So we have to see like when that happens, how these games fare. But we're high on Star Wars right now. We're ready for them to continue and go forward. And this is a great episode. Show Brendan, peace out.
Later.
Trust only in the Force.